Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be testing out and reviewing a full coverage concealer that I had yet to review here on my channel. I'm talking about the Makeup Forever Full Cover Concealer. Now this retails for $32 US and you can only find it in 10 different shades. I grabbed the shade 07 to test out today. Now like I said, this is a full coverage concealer. It is oil free, it is waterproof, it is long wearing, and it is going to give us a matte finish. The description states that it is meant to conceal blemishes, scars, discoloration, tattoos even. So if it's meant to conceal tattoos, I think it can take care of a little bit of darkness underneath the eyes, right? Now, per usual, I am going to be testing this guy out both with and without a color corrector underneath to see what kind of coverage we are able to achieve. Since it does have a matte finish, I am going to be pairing it with my Beauty Pie corrector in the shade Medium Deep, which looks like this. It's a very emollient, hydrating color corrector that works really well underneath my really matte concealers, such as my Tarte Shape Tape. So if it works underneath the Tarte Shape Tape, it can work underneath any matte concealer. And I also did purchase the Ultra HD setting powder from Makeup Forever, which I am excited to try, and that is what I will be using to set this guy, because I'm thinking that it may settle just based on the fact that it is more of a creamy concealer. This is what the shade looks like right here. Let me swatch it for you guys. Yeah, very thick, very creamy, looks like this, and it should work out underneath the eyes just fine. So let's get started with this. Like I said, I'm gonna be using my Beauty Pie corrector underneath the right side. So just going in with a little bit of this in order to neutralize the darkness over here. All right, so I've only had this little swatch on the back of my hand for maybe like a little over a minute. And yeah, it's really matte. And it is very, very highly pigmented. Like you can't see the vein that's hiding behind this swatch. I'll show you on this vein. That's kind of like concealing under eye darkness, right? So that's the amount of coverage. You can't see anything through that. Let's try to blend it out a little more. Oh yeah. I mean, you can kind of see my veins a little bit, but it's pretty high in coverage. All right, let's apply this. Wait, I have to do foundation first. I'm gonna use my Bounce Skin Tint Always On Radiant Skin Tint. I really love this stuff. I just did a review on this foundation or the skin tint. And even though it is a skin tint, it gives you such beautiful, like medium coverage, and it makes your skin look amazing. All right, foundation is ready to go. Let's get started with the concealer. I'm reading through the website just to make sure that I am using this the way that it is meant to be used. So you're supposed to apply a small amount of full cover with a finger or a brush to the imperfection to be masked with light patches. Gradient the outlines to avoid demarcations. Set the cream by applying a little loose powder to the powder puff. Wait 2 minutes and remove the excess with a brush. Sounds pretty straightforward, so let's get into it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a little bit. I had like a little tiny dot. Actually, I should have shown you guys, but I'm gonna take a little bit with my finger. I'm gonna apply it underneath the eye, and then I'm gonna blend it out using my brush. I'll try to do it that way. Especially because here along the inner corner, it's so difficult to get underneath the eye. Okay. So now let's blend this way and then blend out here. Right, like this? Am I doing it right? I don't know if I'm doing it right. All right, so one thing to note, this dries down quick, super quick. Don't have a whole lot of playtime with this concealer, that is for sure. All right, so there's one side done, absolutely full coverage for sure. So now let's try the other side. So I'm just applying this amount onto the back of my hand. I'm spreading it out with my finger, my ring finger. And now we gotta work fast. So let's focus here. All right, so it's on with the finger. Now let's blend out the edges. And I'm just very lightly patting and blending. Like I'm barely applying any pressure underneath the eye because for one, I don't want to move the product around. And for two, it's actually setting pretty nicely underneath the eye. I'm also gonna use it on these two blemishes that I've got going on along the forehead today. So I'm going to just grab a tiny bit more. We're going to pat and pat. And then we're just gonna blend out the edges. All right, so far, I like the way that it's sitting on top of the corrector. By itself, it looks like it's moving around a little bit. So let's open this setting powder. I grabbed the shade, what shade is this? Banana. Not sure if that was a great idea because now that I'm looking at it, it looks a little too yellow, but let's see. So I'm taking the little powder puff that it comes with, just grabbing some of this. I don't usually do powder puffs underneath the eyes. I always feel like less is more, and this to me sounds like baking because the way that they described it on the website is that you're supposed to set it with the loose powder with the powder puff and then brush away the excess after a couple minutes, which I don't typically do, but you know what? It's their product. We're gonna try it the way that they want you to try it. So just taking some of the powder and setting this into place. All right, so even though I set it with a powder, it doesn't look dry up close, but it is looking a little too yellow for me. A little bit more, I'm just trying to shake off the excess so I don't have too much on this. Now we're gonna set this side. Okay, so this powder is amazing. It does not look dry at all to me. All right, and I'm also gonna take a little bit more to set here along the forehead, because the radiance is just kind of drawing attention to the blemishes. All right, so I really like the powder. I don't love the shade. It's a little too yellow. However, even though it's yellow, it doesn't look excessively dry. I thought it was going to because it is a matte concealer, and I did apply powder with a powder puff, which means that I applied more than what I usually do, but it doesn't look dry at all. Over here, maybe a little bit. I don't have as much coverage, obviously, but it doesn't look dry. I am kind of surprised that it doesn't look as dry as I thought it was going to. So let me zoom you guys in so that you can get an up close look at the under eye area after initial application. All right, so this is what we are starting our day off with. Full, I would say definitely full coverage over here, or fuller than without the corrector underneath. And yeah, it's a little too yellow, but other than that, I think we're good to go. All right, now that you've gotten a close up, let me jump off camera, finish the rest of my makeup, per usual, you know the drill, and I will be right back. All right, so I am back, ready to continue with my day. So far, so good. Full coverage over here, definitely. A little bit less over here, but not by much. Other than it looking a little bit yellow, I like it. Looks good, even up close. It doesn't look excessively matte, which is great. I really like that setting powder, by the way. So let's see how it wears. It is currently 11:35 in the morning. I do plan on wearing this all day long per usual. And of course, I'll be back halfway through the day to show you guys some close-ups under natural lighting and see what this concealer is doing under the eyes. So I will see you back here in a few hours for my midday check-in. All right, so I am back for a quick midday check-in. It is currently 3:25, which means that I've had this concealer on for I want to say full 4 hours, right? I think we started at around 11:30. I'm a little shook, as they say. This is the situation underneath my eyes. Like, it has not changed at all. We're still getting the same amount of coverage underneath both eyes, so a little bit higher over here than over here because of the color corrector. But look at how like solid this looks underneath the eyes. It doesn't look dry. It doesn't look excessively dry. It doesn't look like crepey or just too matte. It looks really, really good. And I have not lost coverage whatsoever. All right. I always say this. I feel like I say this in every video. I don't want to get too excited before the end of the day. Things can change. Things have changed for me with different products. Like, I'm really happy midday, and then at the end of the day, it's not the same. So we're gonna hold off on what my opinion is on this concealer. But anyway, I'll continue to wear this for another 4 hours to give it a full day, and we'll see what we are left with. But I'll see you back here in a few more hours for my end of day check-in. All right, so I am back for my final check-in. It is finally starting to feel like fall around here. It was actually kind of cold today, so the hoodies, the sweatpants, all the nice warm stuff is out. Anyway, it is currently 7:36, which means that I've had this on now for an entire day, a full 8 hours. Now, before I get into what I think about this concealer, I'm going to zoom you guys in one last time so that you can get a good look at the under eye area after 8 hours of wear. All right, so this is what we are left with at the end of an 8-hour day. I'm really pleased with it, actually, especially over here on the right side. Still looks great, still providing a lot of coverage, although not full, like complete coverage. But I mean, look at that. It's still really good. So there you have it. That is the under eye area. I feel like this concealer wore exceptionally well, really, really well, actually, considering that it is a matte concealer and that I set it with a matte setting powder, which I did not realize this was. Matte setting powder sitting on top of a matte concealer, but it looks great, even 8 hours after. However, you don't get as much coverage with this concealer on its own, and the shade range is lacking. Like, it's such a shame that they don't have more shades to choose from, because this is like a hidden gem formula, or at least I think so. It wore really well on its own. It looks a little dry, but not excessively dry. Not like what I was expecting, especially after reading that about the setting powder. I thought that this was going to just look like the Sahara Desert over here, but it's not at all. I've seen a lot worse, trust me. With the corrector underneath, you get a little bit more coverage, and it stays looking a bit smoother the entire day. I think I did see that they do offer kind of like a peachy undertone option in like the next shade up or something like that. So I am going to be ordering that one, since I feel like that would give me better coverage. Like, insane, right? I really, really like this formula. I kind of was not thinking that I was going to like it, if I'm being completely honest. It's very thick, it is creamy, and I thought that it might wear like my Kevyn Aucoin the Skin Enhancer concealer that I have, which I love because it is very high in coverage. It is super pigmented, super opaque. You can't see anything through that concealer, but it doesn't stay in place. I've tried it numerous times, numerous different ways. It just won't wear the way that I would like it to wear, which is like just stay in place, like just stay. And it doesn't. So this one did not disappoint in that way. And yeah, I wish they had more shades, because this is truly a good one. So that completes today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed today's product review and that you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on future reviews, future videos, and also don't forget to follow me over on Instagram, where I absolutely love to interact with you guys. As always, take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah. Bye.